Cool, awesome. I'm here with IMaM KHLID LATIFF. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm excellent, thank you. And we're here in Asheville, North Carolina with an interfaith event. So IMaM KHLID LATIFF, you have a very large resume, chaplain for NYU, chaplain for Princeton, NYU, first ever established Muslim Student Center, the NYPD chaplain. You're also on a task force to combat hate, and you're with the Of Many Institute. You've shared a stage with Pope Francis, and after speaking with him, your name was searched 40 million times on Google. And you were also named a global interfaith visionary by the United Nations Temple of Understanding. So as someone who is a religious leader, a worldwide religious leader, what is your vision for the future?
I think in a lot of the work that I do, the importance of kind of grassroots engagement and not undermining the importance of real heart-to-heart interaction. Sometimes we get lost in visions that are very grand to a point where the substantive impact is not really what could be potentially yielded, as much as if we're thinking about it on the levels of consistency and through a prism of what success actually looks like. And so if I can engage somebody for, an hour and it's an audience of 10,000, but I am able to engage an audience of one in a more meaningful manner for 100 hours or 1,000 hours, I likely am going to yield more impact through the latter than the former. Mm-hmm. And a vision that creates those moments, that enables me to come as I am and you to come as you are, and for me to recognize that you don't have to become me in order for you and I to have depth to our relationship, but we can be each other and still maintain through an embracement not just of similarity but also recognition of difference, how in fact deep our friendships can be. And some of that's just going to be a product of time, and some of it's going to be a product of real concerted effort. But there has to be an understanding that it's possible.
Definitely. And one of those conceptions that you're talking about, if the concept is Universal Brotherhood and this love and coming together, one of the conceptions that you're working on is the Of Many Institute. And I've been researching that, and it seems like a great conception of how we can bring forth this idea of interfaith connection, bring forth spiritual and religious leaders to do good not only in the community. We talked about institutional racism, the new Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander. We talked about that, and I think religion and faith definitely has the ability to combat those earthly evils, those things that are so egocentric like you talked about tonight. Would you mind talking a little bit about the Institute and the work you all do there?
So at New York University, we've established a multi-faith center and a new division that's called Global Spiritual Life. Within Global Spiritual Life resides this multi-faith institute that's called the Of Many Institute. What's interesting to note is that at a time when many universities and institutions of higher education, even those that are rooted in a faith tradition, are embracing the secular more so, NYU, which is not rooted in any faith tradition, has made very deliberate steps to embrace spiritual diversity and provide resources for students coming from religious and spiritual backgrounds. At a time when many assume that religion is in the decline, our analysis and research has shown that at a university that has 50,000 students, students have embraced their religious and spiritual identity more so than ever. We have a new facility that we call the Global Center for Academic and Spiritual Life, which came from a cursory analysis of activities that students were engaged in on campus. And we found in an official capacity, more than 60 to 65% of student-based events taking place in our main student center were being done by religious and spiritual groups. And those were just official events, let alone unofficial Bible studies happening in stairwells and empty classrooms and prayer services where people found empty hallways and things. And so what the Global Spiritual Life seeks to do is provide a space for the different religious communities, chaplaincies, ministries to come together in organic fashions, build meaningful relationships, and then build towards this universal brotherhood that we're talking about. We estimate that in our facility on a given week, there's about 4,500 unique individuals that come, and they're all coming from very different backgrounds and walks of life. We've also established the first ever minor in multi-faith and spiritual leadership in the country that has a pedagogy that roots the study of religion not in theological texts or systems of theology of various religions, but what is the role of religion in society today, and how do we expose people beyond an academic understanding of how religion relates to social justice, how does it relate to elements of intersectional identities, so someone's race, someone's class, someone's gender, and equipping people with a recognition of diversity that regardless of what professional ambition they have, they're going to become aware and more nuanced in how they engage this aspect of diversity that isn't going anywhere. If anything, it just seems to be getting stronger. There's also an element of civic engagement, providing consultation and resources to local apparatus of various kinds to be able to say this is how you enhance multi-faith engagement in different ways. But it's going amazing, and we're hoping to see that much more come from it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. I'm really excited to see where that project goes for you. I'm very glad that you're a voice for this project, and I appreciate your time today.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.